Hey, good evening, folks. Welcome to the program this Tuesday evening. And we are in the kind of the informal pre-show. It's not like a pre-show like, Vikings football pre-show, where we have everything lined up. This is just the 4 minutes we got to kill before we go live. And so I've got to turn on a couple of things and get some things rolling here. I am going to hit the record button. Testing 1, 2. There we go. We are recording our audio. And I also need to turn on our connection to the stream in about 12 seconds. And that will not... Audio Hunting now available as a paid upgrade. No thanks. All right, here we go. Squinting because it took off my glasses. Boom. There we go. Now... I should put on my headset. It's plugged in and all that, so we don't get a lot of feedback. And there we go. Let me try the other ear. Then it doesn't drape across my keyboard. So, it's quite a time delay. Holy cats. I'm going to turn that down. So how's everybody tonight? Hope everything's going okay. Look at everybody coming in. Michelle Kenham Free is here. And Barbie D is here, and Grumpy Stack. I think I saw Sarah Yusuf was here. I've got to turn down that sound altogether. There we go. Thank you, Leslie. That, folks, is called a super chat, what Leslie just did. I don't know if everybody can see that or just me. You see the big red bar? Thank you, Leslie. She just put $50 into this show and into our efforts. Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. So that's wonderful. And Matthew Sainsbury is here. Happy birthday yesterday, Matthew. Sorry we missed your birthday yesterday. We didn't do a show last night. And Remelian is here. Matt Finn in here quite early. Am I correct on that? And Field Guys, yep, there he is. Matt Finn, off topic for today, but perhaps you'll find it interesting enough. Look up Ireland, Ur of the Chaldees. It's by Anne Wilkes, about 1870. It's an archive available online. It's thought-provoking study. I'll have to look at that. I'll look that up, Master Finn. And Andromeda 7 Celestial Gateway is here. That's got to be Teresa or somebody over there that works with Teresa on her show. So sounds like a good one tonight, Scotty. I hope it is. I think it might be more superficial than in-depth. So it's just kind of a... hey, Niall, did someone mention Ireland? He starts sprouting clovers on his chest when somebody speaks of Ireland. Let's see. We got Leslie Holker is here, of course. And as people come in, we've got about 40 seconds before we go live. And when we go live, remember, if you're sitting here in the chat room, you will see everything will go dark for a minute. And then we think Roe Broker knows tonight. We'll have to find out. Rainey's just calling everything that's going on. And what did that mean? Everything that's going on. So we'll talk more about that later. Okay, folks, going dark. Stand.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years longest than I've been alive. Go to ScottAlanRoberts.com. That's Scott with two T's, AlanRoberts.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
My mic is not on. How about that? I was on mute. How about that? You know, every day there is something I do wrong. I think I've got it all in line. Oh, I got it now today. I got this going on. I got that going on. I got that button pushed, and it ain't no big shakes, really, when it comes down to it. But now I forgot to bring my mic up. So apologies, folks. Apologies over on the radio end who was listening to at least, oh, how many minutes of silence while I was talking. That really sucks. And so I hate that. Sorry for doing that, folks. It happens every now and then. But I guarantee you, if I have my mic unmuted tomorrow, you're going to find out I forgot to connect to the radio stream. Or if I have the radio stream going and the mic working, then I'm not recording the audio. Something's going to go wrong. It's every day one of those three things I either forget to do or thought I already did it or whatever it is. You see, my daughter, Rowan, is muscling in here on my camera. Yeah, we think she might have broken her nose. So mom's talking to the nurse right now. You can't tell much on this camera, but she's getting a little discolored. She's got quite a bump on her nose, right where the cartilage meets the skull bone, midway up the nose. So there you go. Come back and let me know what's going on. Okay. All right. We'll keep people updated. News at 11. And so there you go. Now that we started technically late over on the radio station and here by about 3.5 minutes, I'm going to start that all over again. This is Scotty Roberts. You're listening to who else would make mistakes like this every day? It's me. It's all me. It's all user error. I don't have this button pushed or that button pushed or that thing turned up or that level or that. And even though I was just sitting back here, I had everything I thought all set to roll tonight. So sorry about that to my listeners, to those of you listening audibly over on Odyssey Radio, where you didn't hear anything. There's no picture over there. So it was just silent. At least over in the chat rooms, you were able to see that I was here and talking. So this is the Intrepid radio program. How's that for an auspicious start to a professional radio show? And this is the Intrepid radio program right here on the Odyssey Radio. station. And that's Odyssey Radio, ODYSY radio.com. Go check out the website. Go check out all the different players that are over there, the different shows that are up over there, and enjoy that while you're at it. And you can see a video broadcast, simulcast of this show. If you're just listening in audio, go on over to Facebook, facebook.com/Odyssey Radio, and you'll find this show playing in its simulcast. Or you can come right over to here to the YouTube channel. And I say over here because that's where most people gather and join into the chat with the Intrepid family over there. And that's youtube.com/Scotty Roberts. And if you would like to join the channel, you can. Click the little join button down below the window on YouTube. You can join this broadcast. And you can subscribe to it as well, and you'll get all the announcements and all of that. So thank you in advance for that. So once again, sorry for starting with the muted mic. I turned it down because while we were playing the show intro, I cranked that all the way down. Otherwise, the mic will be picked up. And I had Rowan standing here, and Rainey was talking off, my wife, off to the side, trying to figure out broken nose stuff, talking to the emergency room and deciding if they're going to take her in tonight. So we're seeing what they have to say. So here, I got to put on my glasses because I see animated chatting over in the chat room, and I've got to see it. And I'm seeing all kinds of people. Hey, Paul Roney. Paul Roney's in our chat room tonight. Matthew Sainsbury, Dave Potter, Uncle David Potter. We've got Niall Parkinson from Ireland. We've got Master Finn. We've got Leslie Holker. And folks, if you want to come over and join everybody over there, get to meet some of these people. Grumpy Stack is here from Louisiana. Susie Q is here. And, of course, Matthew Finn. Matt Finn is my first in command over there in the chat room. Master Finn, we like to call him over here. And Teresa is here. And so all the regulars are starting to, the regular folk are coming in. Play me a song. I'm the piano man. Should do that in William Shatner style, you know. Play me a song. I'm the piano man. All right, anyway, there we go. So now that we're all on, everything's working, everything's running, cameras on, lights on, microphones on, mic is up. All the right buttons are pushed, a little late on some of them, but here we are. We wanted to talk tonight about kind of a fun topic. And, you know, this show tends to, you've been with me, many of you, for about 3 years now on this incarnation of this show. Some of you have been with me for 10 years since I've been broadcasting this format. Some of you have been around. I don't know if there's anybody in the chat room or listening tonight that was listening back in the year 2000 when I started doing paranormal radio. So I've been doing radio since all the way back 22 years ago now. And some of you have been listening all that time. Many of you for the last 3 years especially, and prior to that. And you know this show, the kind of format I have, the kinds of things I like to talk about. I love history. I love archaeology. I love strange history and mysterious earth mysteries, things like that. I like to talk about spirituality. I like to talk about religion and religious history, not from a single standpoint. For those of you who are listening, I don't have a religious show here. Although we sometimes talk about religion. I love doing politics, as you know, especially as I see them in daily things going on, and I comment on them from a specific point of view. I like to think I'm very common-sensed, which puts me in the conservative camp. Sorry to all my listeners who aren't conservative. Live with it. It's okay. You're not going to hear me preach too much on that. But so I wanted to try a show tonight on some of these things we've touched on before. And this is kind of, I saw Niall comment on it. Great. It's a light show tonight. And I don't know if you were being sarcastic or not, Niall, over there in the chat room. But human psychology, right, Niall? I do human psychology a lot. And so I like to say that I do a lot of paranormal, a lot of mysterious stuff, a lot of weird spirituality and things like that. But we delve into a lot of areas. And like I've always said about the things I do, I talk about the things I like to talk about, the things that get my juices going. If I ever do a show and you see me on here and it's lagging and it's just not doing it for you, it probably means it's not doing it for me either. And I've had some things where I said, hey, we're going to start a little series tonight. And I start getting into the topic a little bit and I'm like, I don't like this. It's not working for me. And we just move on to something else the next day. So this is something I saw some books on this. We got some little books around the house on this stuff. I read some articles on this, and this is this whole thing about house spirits. Now, I'm not talking about ghosts per se. There's a fine line here, and it's a little muddled, and you're going to find me going, maybe yes, maybe this, maybe not that. It's the idea that your dwelling, where you live, where you put your energy, your life, your love, your sadness, your all the things that go on in your life, that the place where you live is a bit magical in that it's got its own spirit, the spirit of the house. Now, is that my daughter and one of her friends, they're both 10 years old, were asking me about that earlier today. And I said, well, it's not like a ghost. I said, this house has a spirit of its own. That spirit probably comes with our family. It's our houses that we've lived in over the many years all have a spirit, I think, that is we build and we make and we create. So when I'm talking about a house spirit, I'm talking about that thing that is the essence of your home. And what I want to talk about specifically is we can talk about the sadnesses, we can talk about the darkness, we can talk about the happiness, the love, we can talk about the passion, all those things wrap up. But I really wanted to focus on what can we do that's kind of magical, that has something to do with us building the happiness and the joy in our homes. There's all of us, whether we have darkness in our lives or not, we all want this certain amount of happiness, this certain amount of joy, the things that we create for our homes. And I want to hit on that tonight while we hit on some other things. Matt Finn over in the chat room says, my house wasn't optioned with spirits when I built it. But yes, I believe we project our spirit into our home environment. And I think that too. And let's see, what did Niall? I was going to click on something Niall said, and the chat room kept scrolling too fast. Niall, this related to the Turin Shroud. The essence is recorded and retained. Exactly, Niall. We were talking about the Shroud of Turin last week, and Niall brought up about the essence that's recorded in the shroud. And I think this is what happens with your home. And it also governs, for lack of a better word, the way your home operates and the things you do in your home. And so what I wanted to talk about is setting intentions, a magical life, things like that. And this is going to be more than, of course, just tonight. We're going to delve into some other things over the next few days. And so I want to talk about this whole thing of your home, the intention with your home, the well, let's just get into it. The magic of your home and how you make that happen. And so your home is I'm trying to get my notes to work for me. There we go. Your home, it's your palace, your place, your nest, your kingdom. It's all those things. It's your sanctuary. Your home should be the sanctuary that you can get away to. You escape from the world here. It's ultimately your sanctuary. It's your place of love. It's nurture, comfort, safety, Now, maybe some of us live alone and we don't have those things coming from outside. We have to build those for ourselves in our home. Grumpy Stack in the chat room says, my home is where I lay my head. Sarah Suf says, do you mean magic as on a constructed atmosphere? Yeah, I think so. A little bit. We're going to get into that, Sarah, as we go on this. But your home isn't just a place. A house has a spirit that's all its own, and it's derived from the energy of the land it sits on, not just the people who dwell in it. There could be nobody in that house, and that house soaks up the energy of the land it sits on and the vibrations of the natural materials from which it was built. If your house is not all synthetic, your house is probably built out of wood, brick, mud, clay, all those things that go into building a house. And those are all natural elements that are brought together inside your house. And when you're alone in your house, close your eyes. Listen to you're not going to hear a literal one, but listen to the heartbeat of your home and hear the message it has. Feel its energy. It's an innate magic that is part of the structure that's in your house, and it can be used in combination with your own personal energy and this magic multiplied by earth, the sky, and nature to live your most joyful, purposeful, healthy, and happy life. Now, happiness, we can define those. We've talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Those have different definitions for different people. But take that as kind of a catch-all word. And all these different words I'm using as things that we earmark as the things that make our life something that we love and enjoy and that we are impassioned about. And so shaping your home into a sacred sanctuary for yourself and your family is closely tied with living in tune with nature. As we become more in tune with nature's energies, from the wind, the sun, the moon, the earth, all of her bounty, we can use those vibrational elements to enhance intentions. Remember how much we've talked about intention, having intention, and manifesting intention. So it enhances intentions. It enhances your how you communicate with the universe around you, without sounding too sing-songy, psycho-babbly, new agey about it. It sends out our wishes, our hopes, and our dreams that can ultimately become the realities we want to have if we harness those energies and make them happen. When I do tarot reading and I pull the magician card, I always talk about this, just comes to mind. I always talk about how the magician is the real magician in the deck, is the one who is able to harness the energies around him, to pick and choose the things that he wants out of the energies and throw them into the spell that he's creating to manifest the intention he wants to play out. And this is what we are. We're all the magicians. The magician is a strong card in the tarot because of this. And so you shape your home into these things. You working in rhythm with nature means that you're showing the pace and you're slowing the pace, and you're savoring the moments that you live. And it means looking inward, hearing the present, not worrying about tomorrow or things we can't control. Now, sometimes it's hard to not worry about tomorrow. Let's say you got rent due or mortgage due or the banknotes due or something's happening. It's always financial, isn't it? And yet you're looking at your wallet and your bank account. You're going, I got nothing today. How am I going to make that happen? I've been there many times. So many times have you been there? It's hard to not worry about tomorrow when that happens. I know even biblically, it talks about how David the king said, I meditate day and night on God. And what did it say about Jesus, who said something about, was it Jesus or was it in the New Testament? saying something about take no thought of tomorrow, for tomorrow will take care of itself. Focus on where you are today. And of course, tomorrow's today, tomorrow. So you get what I mean by that. So it gives you the freedom to own the life you want and to take responsibility for making it a reality. I'm not you throw responsibility or obligation to the wind here when we say don't worry about tomorrow. It's like don't worry about tomorrow. You have obligations, you have things you have to do, but really channel that in the right way. Channel it into understanding that I can harness these energies in my universe. And people say, well, okay, that's great. I hear that all the time. How do you do that? So we're going to be talking about over the next couple of days. How do we do that kind of thing? It's a breather from everyday stress. It's a child's hug, a neighbor's wave, a smile. Some of these things sound sing-songy, but a smile from a stranger, a comfortable bed. It's the sigh of renewal. All of those things, these are things that, to me, that's a list that kind of smacks a little bit of the, oh, my life is wonderful because I can see the flowers growing in my flower bed. It's like, that doesn't do it for a lot of people. But when you can get past that and get into understanding how that is something you could latch into on an energetic level, that's where it makes a difference. Now let's consider the spirit of the house, as well as the personalities of its individual rooms. What's the personality of your rooms? Uncover ways to enhance, to utilize, to discover, change the magical potential in your life. You know what I have done in certain rooms? We're going to get into how some of this stuff works. Is that I set up certain rooms in my home. I want them to have a certain feel. Now, this room I'm in now, this is my studio. It doesn't have everything I want in it. It's a little thrown together because we moved in here last summer and we're pretty sure we're going to be moving at least one more time. And so you slowly put things together, and some days you go, hey, let's put this all together. And then you go, no, as soon as I do that, we're going to have to find some other place. We're going to have to go to some other place. We're going to start building. That'd be the good thing. We want to start building our house. But I like to have certain things around me. I like wood around me. I like wood bookcases. I like my swords and my maps and my statues, my artifacts from Egypt in the cabinet. I haven't even loaded that up since we moved in here in August. Those are all still in a box, and I haven't put those out. That's part of the spirit of my room. These are the things I'm talking about. I like wood, and I like. Does that sound very masculine? I think there are women who like wood in their room too. No double entendres, please. But I just saw a video and I shared it on my Facebook about how a guy took his drab sheetrock walls in his basement of a modern house, fairly new construction, and built it to look like a hobbit hole, a bit from the movies. He created the archways, and some of it wasn't even wood. Some of it was other materials that he brought in and made it look like wood. He created the environment he wanted to have. I like wood floors, old wood floors, and things like that. So we'll get into this even more as we talk more about making your rooms do what they want you to do. But you have to consider the spirit of your house and its rooms. You have to tap into your inner domestic god or goddess and connect with the powers of nature. You're going to enhance your own vibrational energies. You're going to bring your home in tune with you. And some of this ties into things we haven't covered for a long time, other than just by mere mention, a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe more, when we were talking about being awake and being aware that you're awake. Different thing than woke. If you're woke, it doesn't necessarily mean you're awake. But woke is a political thing. I'm talking about being awake in that sense that you've realized that the part that you play in the universe, maybe you haven't figured out all the things and the ins and outs of your life, but you've realized that you are a part of something much bigger. And you're aware that you're awake. and you manifest those things. So this is what I want us to consider. We're going to tie some of this in as we go into this deeper. You're going to protect your home's inhabitants from evil. That's what our goal is. Unless you're an evil person and you're inviting it in. Hey, come on, evil. Need more dark in here. Maybe evil will appear as an angel of light, as the biblical passage says. That evil, that Satan, can appear as an angel of light. So maybe you have a bright, shiny, wonderful home. But it's got. Now, have you ever walked into a home and you're able to really decipher very quickly what kind of people these are? You've got sometimes walk into white, sterile homes. It's like, it's cold, it's sterile. You walk into homes where there's warmth, and you can tell the warmth. You've walked into homes that are dark and black, and you can feel that blackness, and you say, something's not right here. So these are all things that we bring. You use the power of light and sound and color and scent, crystals sometimes, herbs sometimes, nature's flora and fauna to make your home homier. And it's a place to thrive in whatever ways you wish. I used to have, when I first met Rainey, I had a huge bedroom. It was actually 2 bedrooms that the wall had been knocked out in the middle and the flooring put in. So it was wood floors. And I had a huge king-size bed that sat at a diagonal in the corner, and the head of the bed was in the corner. Behind that, I had some wooden stands, and I had a big vase of some kind that had all kinds of, don't laugh at the word. We all know what they are, but we all laugh at the pussy willows from the swamp. And cattails, some of them. And I had all those things that I had gotten from the swamp area and put them all in there. And Rainey was like, I really don't like the sticks. When we moved in together, finally, we got our first place together. She's like, yeah, you can lose the sticks. But this is what we do. Sometimes we bring in the outside. Paul Roney says, what home? Yeah, I hear that. What's the verdict, Ma?
One thing we didn't look at was right up under here.
Yeah.
And if you look up right under there, that's indented and it sticks out this side.
Nice.
So
We're bringing her in?
They said bring her in.
You going right now?
I don't want to.
Okay, guys. Rainey's got to take Rowan into the ER because I told you I'd report back on this because it happened right before this show started. Maybe that's why I forgot to push all my buttons. But Rowan's got a little, we think she's got her nose broken. And she's got the little thing inside that's pushed out. So let me see that. That's riveting radio, I know.
See how one of them's smaller?
Yep, I do. I see it. Well, they'll find out. I will tell you this. Be prepared for little pain and little pinch. They're going to do their best.
Sure.
You might have to set your nose.
Yeah.
Hey, I love you. So.
Boy doctor, kick him in the nuts. If it's a girl doctor, pinch.
All right. There you go. Straight from the 10-year-old. So, yes, I think Rowan's got hugs to Rowan. Says, feel better, Rowan, says Barbie D. Matthew Sainsbury in Barbados. He says, feel better. Uncle Dave sends his love. Hugs from Leslie. So everybody's wishing you the best. I'll see you all in about 5 hours because they're going to the ER. You know how ERs are. Never need the ER till it's nighttime, and you got to sit there for 4 hours.
Remember when I said I'm going to knock on wood because I don't want to jinx myself?
Yep.
I didn't have to do anything this week.
There it is. Yep. Rainey just earlier today said, I'm going to knock on wood. I got nothing to do this week. I got nothing on the schedule. No doctor's appointments, no dentist appointments. Remember, we got 3 kids plus us. And it looks like an open schedule, she said. She said, but I'm going to knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it. Now, hey, we're on radio.
I'm sorry. I jinxed it.
You come over here again. There's Rainey. So.
Do I look tired and stressed out already? Because it's
going
to be a long night.
But that's okay.
All right, love you. Bye.
All right. See you in a bit, baby. All right. So wish Rowan some luck. Put out some nice energy for her. They're off to the ER. and mom's going to take her. So, yeah, we believe she has broken her nose. So, and that all happened just 5 minutes before the radio show started tonight. So there you go. All right, let's try to get back into this a little bit. And hey, Professor Bauer, I think I saw your name flit by my eyes. So, and Niall Parkinson, I just want to see what he said. He said I did a photographic series on the structure of grief: a loose nail, a crumbled wall, an unpainted wall, a loose tile. Yeah. So we've all been in those homes and those structures that seem to they will denote their character, so to speak, for lack of maybe a better way to put that. So escape from everyday is the idea here. Is what we're going to get at with this. Escape from everyday stress and into the magic of your home. Is your home? That's the first thing to ask yourself. Your home might not be everything you want it to be. My home certainly isn't. I don't have all my stuff. I arrange my studio here. It's almost like a prop because I do radio here. So I got a bookshelf there. I got a bookshelf there. One behind me. Statuettes, my swords on the wall. Things like that. These are props for me to say, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. These are the things that make me happy in my home. I would surround myself with all this stuff. We had, when my older daughters were in high school still, they brought a friend into our house when we had the ranch house. And we had all kinds of bookshelves everywhere and stuff. I called it creative clutter. It wasn't a mess. It wasn't a free for all in there, and it wasn't. Dave Potter knows, he's been out to the ranch. We had certain things set up away, certain kinds of furniture. We wanted to evoke a certain feeling in that house. And one of my daughter's friends walked into our house for the first time in the afternoon after school, and he's looking around and goes, "Whoa." And he's talking not to me, he's talking to my daughters. He says, "Your house looks like something out of Harry Potter." And I thought, oh, that was kind of cool compliment from a kid. But here's what you do, is what we're going to get into. The things you want to do to make your house what you want it to be. And so the first thing, this is the number one thing that we're going to do, and I want you to concentrate on, is manifesting a magical life. Now, there's a lot of psychology perhaps wrapped up into this. There's not a single one of us that doesn't have tragedy, sadness, hurts and pains, stress. Sometimes it doesn't have to be sadness and hurt and tragedy. It can just be the stress of living. How am I going to make it? Why can't I get a better job than the one I've got? Why does the job I have not produce enough money to pay my bills every month? In order to afford all my bills and live within my means, I'd be living in a hovel somewhere, a rat shack infested with roaches, or something like that. That's the thoughts we have. And so we strive and we push and we try to make it. It's really hard to see that you have the ability in those situations to manifest a magical life. A lot of this goes back to our own attitude, our own intention, our own manifesting of what we want. Even if we can't change the physical environment, we can change the environment by who we are, by the magic that we manifest. And so a life filled and a life fulfilled is the greatest gift of all that we give ourselves and our families. And through magic, though magic implies something supernatural, it's magic, of course. It's supernatural. It's a wonderful thing. It's really the opposite when we're talking about this stuff with the home. The powers to manifest a magical life, to create a magical home, are well within you, while the heavens within the heavens, within earth, within nature, and within reach. Now, some of us might be homeless. Niall says, I need to define magical in my terms, not or too loose of a term that I'm using. He says, what I mean by magical, what I consider to be magic, is our ability to harness the elements of nature around us. And that doesn't always look like, oh, I got to turn to a dusty old page in a dusty old book that's written in dusty old handwriting, and a little bit of Latin. And I've got to have eye of newt and, ear of frog and things like that. I'm not talking about that kind of magic. I'm talking about the magic that, now, I don't have this ability because I've never tried it. I've never practiced it. Some people have the ability to bring fire out of the air. Do they do that because it's only fiction and nobody ever really does that? I know people who've done that. Magic seems to be a thing that is more intangible in its elements in putting it together. I am not a master magician. I am not a wizard. I am not a witch. I am none of those things. But I do know that there is a certain magic when we manifest something out of ourselves, out of the earth around us. We harness certain things we want to have. And it's more of a manifestation of what's inside me. I've heard magnetism, as said Matthew Sainsbury. Wishful thinking or flash paper, says Sarah Yusuf. I don't know, Sarah. I don't know who you've been engaged in and who you've seen that can do certain things like this. We can get more on that, and I can maybe even get some people on this show that can talk about some of that. And you know what? They don't all look like a gaunt, weathered Gandalf the Wizard. No, they don't. They're sometimes very normal people. No necromancy for me, thanks, says Matt Finn. Yeah, none for me either. I don't like messing with dead bodies. It's not my thing. So Paige is very magical, she says. So I hope that's helping, Niall, as we go along here. My definition might be different than somebody else's. I think it's all the elements of nature that you can combine. I think when I look at, and I've used this as an example when talking about it, I think Jesus of Nazareth in biblical stories was a master magician. He was somebody, now people say, well, that's because he was the Son of God. And I say, well, back even away from that and say the things that he was able to do. And remember, I also think Jesus didn't realize the full impact of who he was until he came very close to the end of his life. It's a different topic, different study. We'll talk about that another time. But he was able to, according to the stories, heal people. Are there healers out there? Yeah. I don't personally know them, but I know there have been healers out there. Are they all charlatans? We don't know that. So there are elements of magic that you can, all that, I'm pushing that aside now to say it's the things that you can pick and choose and harness in order to make something happen, in order to achieve a certain end. Niall says here, I surround myself with elements that define me: art, furniture, lighting, statues, ornaments. But 5 kids would destroy it in seconds. I get where you're going. Yeah, exactly. It's sometimes difficult to maintain certain areas or certain magics in your life. And you have to find ways to do that. And there are creative ways to do that. We'll get to that. I keep saying we'll get to that because it's a lot of information that's going to spread over several days. And so, though magic implies something supernatural, as I started, it's really the opposite. It's powers to manifest a magical life and create a magical home are well within all of us. It's within all our reach. You live in a dingy apartment somewhere and say, well, that's you can still make. It's the idea of, okay, very different thing. But when we say, be content with what you have and be content where you are, build the happiness and build the passion, the love of your wherever you are, you build that by being content where you are. Now, I think that is an element of creating magic, not the magic. It's an element of it. Living your best magical life, manifesting your most magical dreams, these all start with a few simple ideas. Now get these. These sound so cliche, you might overlook them. But be kind to yourself. Your magical powers are contained within you. If you're not kind to yourself, you're not going to be able to manifest that, to pull those things forward. Be kind to others. Your magical powers can amplify their magical powers can amplify yours. Be kind to your surroundings, your environment, your planet, if you will. Those magical powers support everything. And most importantly, be a believer in your ability to do this. Romeldian says creation is magic, and everyone has their own talent in magic. It just depends on when the soul wants to wake into the magical ability. And I can agree with that. Sarah Yusuf says, I'd love to live in a house with white carpet, but it's not feasible with my family. I'd love to have white carpet too in the places that aren't wood floors. I like wood floors. You know why? I got 3 kids, rambunctious kids. I've got a cat and a dog who like to throw up on things. Sometimes the dog will go, oh, nobody's here to let me out. I think I'll piss here. I hate that more than anything. I do not like that in my house. I don't like the smell of cat box. I don't like the dog relieving itself because it thinks it can, or dragging its ass on my carpet because, I got an itch back there and I think I'll just drag my ass on your white carpet. Yeah, that ain't going to work. Yeah, I love wood floors. That's we've got some here. But anyway, moving on. Think of your magical life like you would think of a garden. Take care to prepare the soil. That's you. You're the soil. You're the thing that you're growing everything in. And so you take care of the soil. You you carefully sow the seeds of growth, planting the seeds. Those are your intentions. You're the soil. The seeds are your intentions that you plant into the soil. And celebrate a harvest when you're done. You tend to the seeds, water them, nurture them. Sunshine, weeding. Weed the things out that don't belong there. Now, these are all word pictures, of course. So we'll try to get into a little more of the hands-on with this. What do? Celebrate your harvest when you're all done. And that's a harvest that's based on your intentions. Share the wealth. Give it back and evaluate the seeds, how the seeds thrived, which may need to be replaced with a different kind of seed. Assess and retune your goals. Using word pictures here because it's easier for us to grasp the ideas. Weed out the things that don't grow, that don't cause growth, that are not bountiful, that do not give you something in return. And you got to put the garden to bed for winter sometimes. It's self-reflection, self-care. So amongst the everyday chaos, creating a magical life sounds really big, but it's completely doable with a few consistent steps. Take time for yourself. You're going to be better for the other people in your family and other people around you that way. So you take time for yourself. Start small. Be consistent in your actions. Know your intentions. And your actions are naturally going to align to manifest the results that you desire. And by the way, having intention and manifestation, we can say it one day. And in our society here, especially, we say that thing and then we go on. We go, okay. And 6 months later, you go, oh, I tried that and it didn't work. This is a daily thing. This is something that needs nurturing constantly, building that constantly. You don't need much to get started. You need an understanding of intentions, how to set them. You need the belief in your powers that are within you. And that's going to get you a long ways with this. You're going to build a toolkit along the way. And those are things we're going to look at here in the coming episodes on this. You got to tend to your precious gifts. Discover the person that you can be within the protective walls of your magical home. And when you're ready, shake the dust off your magic carpet, so to speak, and take a ride. That's what we're going to do with this. I don't want to be too sing-songy with this, but sometimes we put that in there just to say, let's make this palatable. What can we do to make this work better for us? And there's something here that I took some notes on this. This is real simple. We got a few minutes left before we're done with tonight's show. But there's 5 ways that spirit visits your home and inhabits your home. This is aside from necessarily what you manifest, but do you ever feel the presence of spirit? Using that with the capital S, spirit in your house? Do you dismiss it as your imagination? Do you give it other thoughts as your loved ones do come to visit you here and there and interrupt and spill things and break their noses and things like that? There's 5 ways that spirit visits your home. And we'll hit these very lightly and see if we can cover them in the last few minutes we have here. Number 1, spirit may show themselves in a quick flash. Perhaps you have seen a silhouette of a loved one at the foot of your own bed, down a hallway. You might dismiss it as your imagination, but next time, reconsider it as spirits love to show themselves. Now, this is not spirit, this is spirits. They will show themselves to you. I've had it happen many times. Number 2, do you smell random scents in your home? I'm talking good ones. Not because you got teenagers who like to walk around and go, hey, Dad, what? And you're like, hey, go do that somewhere else. And they laugh. But do you smell random scents like perfume, cigar smoke? Today, Rainey brought up something that I've smelled a few times. She said, did you just smell it? It smelled like somebody just lit a wooden match. I'm smelling wooden match. And I wasn't smelling it, but I smelled that yesterday and last week sometime. Not electrical, like, oh, there's an electrical fire brewing in the walls. It smelled like somebody lit a wooden match. And so do you smell these random things sometimes? And these scents won't linger, but they come in and they go quickly. And it's a moment you might think of a loved one in spirit. So trust that this is maybe a loved one or somebody you knew, or maybe somebody you don't even know. That's a visitation, and the scent is going to prove it to you. Number 3, you've laid your child down to sleep to only hear them talking to someone else later from their room. And children are extremely sensitive, and they haven't lost the ability to communicate with the other side. Not yet. Sometimes when they're very small. Number 4, lights flicker for no apparent reason. Sometimes it can be electrical problems. Sometimes it's not. You call an electrician, no issues found. Spirits love to use energy as a form of communication. So consider The blinking lights is a way of someone trying to send you a signal. This is how even Michael Shermer, the head of the Skeptics of America or something like that, said that he believed he had a contact from his father that way with electronics, and it broke his skepticism down. So number 5, are you in a home and suddenly get goosebumps? The temperature of the room is fine, yet you sense there's someone around you. Followed by the goosebumps. Is this spirit or is it psychology? So spirit doesn't intend to do you harm. Spirits visit you in the comfort of your home. And there's reasons for that we can talk about another time when we have more time. So, folks, I hope that this was a fun little introduction to what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks here. Few days here. I took my glasses out because I do that when I talk. But put them back on so I can watch the time. We've got just a few seconds. Stick around in the chat room and we'll be back. And until then, you know what? Live long and prosper.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Well, there we are, folks. We're back. This is the Captain's Cabin, a little afterward. After the show tonight. We're off air over at Odyssey Radio. And let me check the time because I got to turn this off at the right time. There we go. I think it's time we can release the stream. The stream is released, and I'm going to stop the audio recording of the show for tonight. And let's just get back into the chat room here. I got to turn the computer so I can unplug and swing her back. There we go. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that show, that little introduction into this idea. And if anybody wants to call in, by the way, you want to talk about stuff, any of the things that we've talked about here tonight, let me throw that that link up here. We'll put it into the chat room. Shebang! There it is. If you want to call in and add your 2 cents worth to any of this, about the magical nature of creating magic in our homes and so on. There it is. We can talk about this a bit. So, Dave Potter said, I walked into a room of one of the lodges about 10 p.m. No one else was in the building but me. And it was as if someone had just exhaled a puff of cigar smoke. And then it dissipated. It was very bizarre. Yeah, I've had some of those sometimes. And sometimes you think, well, is there cigar smoke, cigarette smoke, pipe smoke that's embedded into the walls of old buildings? That's very possible. Niall says, you might be surprised. I'll call. And good night, Susie Q. Thanks for being here. What do you all think of using the terms magic and talking about the magic that we can manifest, the energy that we have the ability to manifest? Here we've got Matthew Sainsbury calling in.
Hey,
Hey,
good night, Scotty Roberts.
Say about magic.
Yeah, thanks. Well, what you were talking about concerning the comforting presence, and so me and my dad experienced it quite a few times.
Yeah.
The times when we had like devotions and sang songs and things of that nature, that we felt like if the temperature in the room was changing and actually having goosebumps and things like that, we experienced it. Also, I don't know if there's a little time we can have on the show, but there's a story on George Washington that a lot of people may not always know about. But in 1755, when he fought in the French and Indian War, he was like an aide to a general called Edward Braddock. And he had told Edward Braddock about the dangers of the woods and how dense the woods can be, and how the French and Indians tend to do guerrilla warfare tactics in those woods. But Braddock refused to listen to Washington's advice. Washington asked for Indian scouts, but Braddock still was very feeling so confident that the British could, chase the French from Fort Duquesne.
Sure.
But as the march went forward, and the Indians and the French came and ambushed the British and the American soldiers, 714 American and British soldiers were killed. Braddock was shot. Washington had was shot at by the Indians, but after the battle, he realized that there were bullet holes in his uniform and a few in his hat. So he said, by the miraculous care of Providence, I've been protected beyond all human probability or expectation. Now, some more accounts of that story began to continue to, more details began to come out eventually after the battle, because of Indian chief called Red Hawk, a woman called Mary Draper Ingles. I don't know if you ever heard of her.
No.
She was kidnapped.
Not
She was
off the top
kidnapped
of
by
my head
Shawnee.
anyway.
Yeah, she was kidnapped by Shawnee Indians in the French fort at Fort Duquesne. And after the battle, she heard the French gesturing wildly, and she wanted to find out what was going on. They were talking about Washington, and they were talking about this chief called Red Hawk. Red Hawk testified of shooting 11 times at Washington and couldn't hit him. So he said that Washington was being protected by the Great Spirit. And 15 years later, in 1770, just before the American Revolution began, Washington was traveling in the Ohio country to the same area where the battle occurred. And an Indian chief and a group of chiefs came to him and paid him a visit, asking to speak with him. And they brought an interpreter and a translator. And the Indian chief told him that, I've come along a weary path that I might see the young warrior of that great battle. It was on the day when the white man's blood first mixed with the streams of our forests that we first beheld you. So I call upon my young man and say, quick, let your aim be certain, he dies. And he said, our rifles were leveled, rifles which were meant for you. But no matter how much we hit you, a power far mightier than we were shielding you. And he told him, seeing that you were protected by the Great Spirit, we immediately ceased to fire at you. And he made a prediction by saying that you will become a chief of a great nation and a founder of a mighty empire. That was the prophecy he gave to Washington about it, because he said that that the Great Spirit protects Washington and guides his destiny, and he become chief of a mighty empire. So that's a very fascinating story.
It's a fun story.
Yes,
I know there was another story from the French and Indian War where Washington, he was a lieutenant, I believe, or a captain. And as they were leaving a fort, they had parlayed with the Native Americans there. And the French and the Native Americans were rather disgusted, they expressed to Washington, that he let them all live, all these French guys. And Washington pretty much told them, if you want to go back there and take care of your own business, that's up to you. And he marched on, and the Indians returned, and they killed all the French, and the chief washed his hands in the brains of the French commander.
Edson Jumonville. Yeah,
So,
that was done. I think
some
that was
very
done
interesting stories.
Chief Half King. Yeah, he did that. Yeah, I heard about that. But Washington had to carry the blame of that, because the year following that, he was attacked by Edson Jumonville's brother De Villiers at Fort Cumberland, I think it was, or one of those forts. I can't remember of it. Fort Necessity. No, come back to my mind. He was attacked there by Jumonville's brother, De Villiers, and he had to sign a paper by saying that he was responsible for Edson Jumonville's assassination. He said it was raining heavy and he's tired, but he didn't know what he was signing. He carried a bit of weight on him about that incident.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, good stories, Matthew. All right,
thanks very much.
I've got Niall hanging in the wings from Ireland, so I'm going to bring him in. But you have a good night, and we'll see you over there in the chat room. Thanks for calling in, Matthew.
Same to you. Thanks, Scotty. Thanks.
All right. Here's Niall from Ireland. How you doing, brother?
Just have to adjust myself, as you can imagine.
All right. I can.
How does that look?
Looks pretty good.
Okay. 1 sec. I'm off to the right for some reason. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I would say compositionally, bring your head closer to the
there we go.
Frame, but you're pretty good.
Okay. Now, first of all, right, I want to say I think this is the second time we've met. We had a brief interaction. You probably don't even remember with yourself and Rainy.
I remember we've talked a
Yes,
couple of
yes.
times, I think,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this
exactly.
format.
Well, not live. I think there was
Not
just
live,
one
though.
interaction. Yeah, yeah. I think this subject is fascinating, Scotty. I think it's fascinating. The reason I'm on is because how fascinating it is to me, but I'm not sure where you're going with it, which I even find more fascinating. Are you with me?
Yes, I am.
Especially when it comes to how your house can retain its essence from its very source, whether it's from the land or the bricks and mortar that surround it. You called it magic. I was like, I was dying to call. If we were sitting and having a drink, like I'd be saying, magic is the wrong word, Scotty. It's not magic.
Sure.
It's like essence. It's like some kind of essence, which is extremely powerful.
Can't you tell I'm saying magic with a J-I-C-K?
Well, but that's another.
That's something totally different. Yes,
that kind of absorbs itself into the black art and also the pagan, aspect of the term magic.
Right.
So magic in all respects.
I just want to say a quick hello to Brianna Learman.
Of course.
Hey, Brianna. She's a quick pop in to say hello, but gonna go to bed. Well,
exactly.
Well, good night, darling.
It's a good time to go to bed because I'm pretty boring.
Yeah. Yeah. She's got school and work and all of that stuff, and she and John are our old neighbors, so next door, across the street.
Yeah.
So
it's a great pleasure to talk to you, Scotty, and it's especially on this kind of subject.
Yeah.
I know that this is something that you want to flesh out over the coming days. Knowing you, the coming weeks, who knows?
Yeah, it could be a couple of weeks. I've got the main topic that I want to talk about, which is, if you bullet point it, you got a list of things. But then I have all these little tributaries that come off of this that are all parts of the main, more simplistic presentation that we can go, okay, now I gave you the simplistic picture on this. Let's veer off here a little bit off the topic into this and try to put some more meat on the bones. And then we get back to the main topic again. So
the main topic, I suppose, is just in your own head, Scotty, and where you want to take this. But from my point of view, structures do contain the essence of the people who have lived there. Now, the chat room was kind of disappearing very quickly, but I made a point earlier on that humans tend to cohabit and take over the land that has already been lived upon. They're very unlike animals, which animals tend to nest. Even in the oceans, that they tend to move around, migrate. Humans tend to build upon what has been built upon before.
Yes.
And that they've done that for millennia, and it's just a weird kind of sensibility that humans have. They tend to see a ground that is cleared of trees, or a plain that is clear of enemies, or the top of or cliff edge that is clear of brush, or whatever it is, or a forest that is kind of that they can hang things upon or build things within. And but they always forgot down through the millennia that everyone else had the same idea. So humans tend to build on top of one another, So it's a brilliant topic from that point of view, because no species on Earth does that except humans. They build on top, literally on top of one another. Sometimes, in some cases, on top of the burial mounds of previous nations and previous quite sophisticated nations, and of course that's going to bring hauntings, that's going to bring an aspect to the.
And sometimes it's just the land itself. Sometimes there are. I've owned houses that were built on land that was never built on before. That doesn't mean it wasn't close to some other inhabitable place. That doesn't mean it didn't have animals living there. I think a good thing to keep in mind with all of this, with what you're talking about, too, is that even if there wasn't human dwelling there was nature there. And this is one of the first things I brought up about bringing magic into your home, or bringing that spirit into your home, is that idea of welcoming the outside in, that the house is built out of materials that came from the earth, that the house sits on the earth, that all of these things are there already, whether there had been previous population there before. And then sometimes you're in places where people have lived too. And so you get some very interesting energies can build up.
Yeah, I think I get some of your point. I get
Mhm.
some of your point. That's why I felt the reason to call in. I get some of your point. Some of it
Sure.
you is kind of hidden from me at the moment. I will confess. Um, I think that
It will all become clear as we
yeah.
proceed.
But I think I've tapped into at least one of the aspects which you're referring to, and it's like no matter there's a strange kind of when we pass through certain aspects of our lives and we live in certain places,
Yep.
in certain households. They don't have to be old like the country manors in the middle
Sure.
of the woods. They can be apartment blocks.
Yep.
Sometimes the structure itself tends to contain the essence of what has gone before in very strange ways.
Yes.
And it's something that I firmly believe in because I've experienced it. With me, it comes in the form of shadows. It's simple. It doesn't frighten me because I draw about it and paint about it every day. Shadows, shadows on the
Mhm.
walls. Like sometimes shadows of like somebody has gone to the bathroom and I have candlelight and I'm watching something and all of a sudden there's a shadow of somebody in the wall, almost like
Right.
somebody's going back in the bathroom, except I'm alone.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. And that tends to go away, funny enough, when I interact with other people. And I introduce some kind of love into my heart. And so the shadows can go away.
Mhm.
And it's something like the magic that you're talking about, but it's not. So I don't want to get too off track, but I think I'm kind of in the ballpark.
Yes, I think you are, because
Mm,
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been there.
mm,
I know Rainey has, my wife. I know other people that have many times.
mm.
I do like what also Sarah Yusuf just added. She said human beings have the ability to nurture or change constructs as well,
Yes.
changing personal resonance. Yeah, sometimes people themselves change their own resonance.
Mm.
Um, because people change. Now, I happen to believe I'm the same guy I was 50 years ago. I haven't changed much. I've just
Really?
grown. I've just the only change I would say is, the change that comes from learning things, the change that comes from gaining um, uh, uh, knowledge about a thing.
Knowledge is
Those
great.
changes come.
Knowledge is great, but emotionally, you're the same guy, Scotty.
I'm the
If
same guy I've always been.
yeah, since you were like this high, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be here tonight speaking like
I
you
think
are
I
to
think
me.
you I think you might be onto something there. Thank you
Yeah.
for that, by the way. It's
Yeah.
so well good. Let's hope we can keep doing this. We're gonna expand this as we go and
Okay,
look
I'll
into
let
this
you
stuff.
go. I'm not going to take over the whole show, but I'll let you go. And
That's all
it's
right.
a pleasure to meet you again. And
Great to see you again, Niall. Thanks for calling in.
and
Thanks
no worries.
for taking the time to call in. I appreciate that.
Food for thought. Food for thought. All
Indeed.
right.
All right. Have a good night or a good morning, I guess,
Take
over there. So,
take care.
all right. Good night. All right. That was Niall Parkinson calling in live from Ireland. And I've taken down the show banners so you can see a little bit more of the messy office here that's stacked up around me. But let me get my glasses back on so I can see what everybody's saying. What else have we got here? Cellularly, you're a new person every 10 years. Oh, well, there it is. Uh, Biological on a cellular level, yes. Yes, I've heard that. But they all overlap with each other, so you're constantly moving, constantly changing. So Matt Finn, I'm curious about your land. Nobody's ever lived there before. Have you ever noticed? Do you look for? Do you notice? Do you see anything ever in your house that you built where nobody's? The house that Rainey and I had in the forest a few years ago, that house had spirits in it. But the question was, are they spirits we brought with us? Were they spirits of the land? Because the house was built, I think, in the early 2000s, and nothing had ever been built there before. And so it's interesting. Interesting how you see it there, Matt Finn, if you're still around, if you're still in the chat room. So, stop using my last name in vain. Oh, I would never do that, Grumpy. It's always for a purpose, a good purpose. Hey, Steve Clark, I didn't see you earlier. Native Americans could have camped there at one time. Sure. So, yeah, he could have had, it could have been near tribal land. It could have been, maybe nobody even camped or lived on that very site, but the area might have had something. There was somebody that picked up in Rainey's and my house in the forest that the farmland surrounding us, he was picking up an older farm couple that was there. This was Travis Thorpe. Many of you know him from some of the other shows. I got to have him on this show. I keep saying I'm going to get him on here. And we will. Dude, people have lived there before. This earth is like 4.6 billion years old, and humans have been around for all of it. Some of it, anyway. Have people lived on that spot before? I don't know. No, as far as we knew, there was no, let's put it this way, there was no traceable evidence that anybody ever lived on the land where our house was built. Same with Matt Finn, no traceable evidence. So the old man who used to live here comes out and visits sometimes at night in the shadows. Have you been able to identify him, Doug? Do you speak to him? Does he speak to you? I would say, how do you know that it's him? I'm not asking skeptically. I'm just asking how you know. Where did that knowledge come to you? Matt Finn says, maybe, Steve, but we worked the soil as I had to raise the grade 3 feet and found no evidence of it. There you go. Yeah, it's possible. And you know what? It doesn't have to be something that took place right beneath the house where you are. It could be the region. It could be the area. It could be the same forest, the same woods, the same meadows and things like that. It's very interesting when I watch Time Team. I watch it all on YouTube these days, but with Tony Robinson in England, where they were doing all the archaeology work in England. And they would, from planes, they would see in farmers' fields, they could see shapes in the meadows. I'm not talking about crop circles or anything. I'm talking about shapes because beneath the ground, there are structures or the remnants of structures that the grass always grows differently over those, and it's always discolored. And so you see these shapes of sometimes whole sections of towns and buildings and stuff when it's just a flat farmer's field. But from the air, you can see that. And so they start digging. Sure enough, they'll find Roman era villas. The first 5 centuries in Great Britain was the remnants of the Roman era. They'll find lots of Roman remains, lots of prehistoric Iron Age type of stuff. And so you'll see circles from the sky. That's where there's a circular roundhouse that was built in the Stone Age by where families lived, and that is still showing through the grass, through the soil. So because the stone beneath it has changed a bit of the nature of the soil. He scared the bejesus out of my kids when we first moved in. Oh, your kids saw him. Yeah, that can be a little scary. When you're not prepped for, I'm even prepped for that stuff, and it would startle me to see the figure of a man or a shadow person sitting there. So it happens. I got to check that only because it might be rainy. Who had to take, those of you who might not have been, had to take Rowan into the ER. We think she broke her nose just a few minutes before the show came on. So, nope, doesn't look like that was rainy. Okay. All my tones are the same. Can't ever figure them out. So anyway, yeah, and thank you, Leslie, if you're still there. She wrote me way back at the beginning at 9:07 that there's no sound on my show. Yeah, everything was mute. So, like I say, one of these days I'll get all the things in a line that have to be done and actually get them all right. So, let's see. Good night, Romeldian. Glad to have you in here. So, who else we got? Hey, there's Michelle. Hey, Michelle. You too, what? What did I miss? Me too, Captain, she says. I don't think he is. He likes to talk about sports. I don't pay attention, says Grumpy Stack. Dave Potter, checklist. I got the checklist. Dave, you saw it here the other day. It's sitting right here on my computer. Just sometimes you turn down the sound during the beginning and you'll go, oh, I need to check that checklist again. I just forgot to unmute it because it's not a button. I got to actually turn the dial. So there it is. And checklist right in front of me. Turn on the link to the show. Here, I'll show you guys if I can even do this right now. If I share my screen, boom. Let's see if it lets me do it today. Chrome has lost the permission. I don't know what it is with this flipping computer. How many times do I have to give permission in my preferences to make the permission stick? It never used to do that to me. Now it does it to me all the time. So who knows? Something wonky going on. And it frustrates me. So get rid of that. All right. Anyway, I'm not going to do it now because I have to reboot the computer to make it work. All right. 10:20. We only ended 23 minutes ago. It seems like I've been talking for an hour since the show ended. So, yeah, I think Uncle Dave, Ellie fell asleep, and Flynn, he's supposed to be sleeping. I'll creep up there and find out he's on his device. He'll stay up till 1 and 2 in the morning. It's like, son, you are supposed to be off of those things at 9:30. Boom. Well, his body clock is all weird. That's why he's so hard to wake up in the morning. It's very quiet. Ellery's sleeping. I hear the TV on over there in her room. So she's sleeping over there. I haven't heard her. Ellie. Nothing. No movement. She's asleep. She didn't want mom to go because it was right at bedtime all this happened. So, oh well. Anyway, I don't think I have much more tonight. I'm tired. I got to get up. I got to go. I got an appointment early. And then I have to bring the kids to school. But I think it's going to be a nice day tomorrow. That warm weather's coming. It's supposed to be in the 70s by the weekend. That means it's going to start warming up. Yay for warm weather and spring finally getting here. So, yeah, he's just like us, Dave. Ain't that the truth? Grumpy Stack, I punched her in the nose because she badmouthed Grumpy Stack. And I said, you can't do that. Punched her in the schnoz. Take that back. Actually, I think Ellery kicked her in the face. They were squabbling, as they do all the time. Just ask Uncle Dave. They're always bickering, always fighting. It's like, come on, guys. And you can't take an arm or cut out a tongue or do those things anymore. That's now deemed to be violence toward your kids. So they do that shit all the time, all day long. Sometimes it's just like, oh my God, will you guys just stop? You separate them. You take things away. You take away privilege. You ground them. You do all different kinds of things. And it still goes on. Well, they were bickering and fighting. And first thing I saw, and this was 5 minutes before the show, Ellie comes running up the stairs because Rainey and I are both upstairs. And she's all worried. And she's already going, I didn't kick her that hard. And you go, uh-oh, what happened? And we're looking over the railing, and up comes Rowan crying, and she's holding her nose, and no blood. But we could see right away something was messed up with her nose. And Ellie was, well, I kicked her because she kicked me first. It's like, we've been through this so many times. If you're bickering so much so that you're fighting with each other, hey, see you, Matt Finn. Then you know what? Stop. Be the one to stop it. I tell them. It's all, they don't get any of that yet. For some reason. Hey, Sean Stroik. Good to see you. Yeah, housework is needed when bickering. Ain't that the truth? And you get to clean the upstairs toilet. You get to clean the downstairs toilet. Oh, I can't believe you'd make us do that. Well, I can't believe that you'd keep fighting after I said stop a year and a half ago. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Mom and I don't want to hear it, so we'll separate you and we'll make sure you don't have the opportunity to fight. You'll each have a toilet to clean. Take out your aggression on the toilet. Use bleach pads, please. And good night, Grumpy. Oh, you're staying. Matt Finn's going. See you, Matt. Good to have you here, brother. And so something happened in there, and we could see she's got a big bump right here, and it's turning black and blue across the bridge. Something in here is bent in, so I think it's broken. But they were bickering over something, and she said Rowan kicked her. I can see exactly what was happening. They're sitting on the bed, getting ready to go to bed, and Rowan's leaning against the pillow, looking at her phone or something, and kicks at Ellie because Ellie's crowding her, doing something. Ellie kicks her and pushes her knee up into her face. And that's what did it. So there you go. Damn kids. So now Rainey is out at the ER with Ro. See what's going to happen there. They're going to x-ray her face. So let's see. Matthew said, I came on virtually shut. Oh, okay. Cool. And so there you go, guys. That's all I got. And so I am going to get off of here. And I'm going to make sure that I'm available if Rainey needs me for anything. And wait to hear from them from the ER, find out what's going on. And I got nothing left for tonight. So no juice left for tonight. I'm just kind of like, phew. You're welcome, Matthew. And good night, Barbie D. And Grumpy Stack and Matthew Sainsbury and Sean Stroik and Who else all is in here? Sarah Yusuf, I think you're still here. And Matt Finn's gone. He's out. And guys, thanks for a good show tonight. Thanks. This is always fun. I enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy it too. So that's all I got. So I will see you all tomorrow night. And of course, as always, I'm going to tell you to just live long and prosper. All right? We'll see you.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my design